I love you.
Well, tally-ho, what do you know? Welcome back, ladies, tramps, and gentlefolks everywhere. I am the Green Traveler.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Yeah, I like that. This is a podcast about movies and TV. Back at the Disney playlist. It's Lady and the Tramp. Baby. Cute little dog movie.
You want to see Disney take on a romance, but instead of humans, they do it with dogs?
It's really weird.
I guess.
But also really cute. After being like an adult dog owner. Like, I've always had dogs in my life, but I took a really big break, and now I've had a dog without the added help of my parents, and super attached to Garlic. Best dog in the world. Right. And then we watch this movie, and you recognize so many behaviors that they're betraying in this story, and it's so funny. I definitely enjoyed watching this way more as an adult than I ever did as a child.
Yeah, I can wholeheartedly agree with that. I only watched it. This is another one that I think I only watched once as a child. It didn't appeal to me. I wasn't really into the romances as a kid, but like now, that's kind of like, I love a good romantic tale. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. That added to the humor of it. Like, being a dog owner myself, like witnessing all that kind of stuff that you were talking about, it made it so much more funnier. And at the same time, so much more emotionally appealing when certain aspects of the story come about. Like when there's, there's a moment where Lady runs away. And, when I was thinking that, I was like, all right, I don't care if I have a baby. I'm going to make sure that my babysitter is fucking vetted so that they're also good at dog sitting.
Yeah, jeez. Aunt Sarah, man. Giving Sarah's a bad name. So, I don't remember who talked the plot on the last one of these, but I can do a quick synopsis. Lady's a dog, and she belongs to Jim Darling and Deer. No, what is that? What do they call the... It's Jim Deer and Darling. That's what it is.
Jim Deer and Darling Deer.
Yeah. But that's not their real names, obviously, but that's what the dog thinks their names are, and that's hilarious to me. And they get this dog, and they're very close to Lady, and eventually Darling gets pregnant. So the other dogs, Jacques and Trusty, are trying to tell her, oh, babies are so good. They're neighborhood dogs. And then along comes the Tramp.
A stray.
He's a stray. He apparently, according to the story, he may have been owned by someone at some time and was abandoned when they had a baby, and he got too close to the baby. So they decided to have a little break, being Jim Deer and Darling, and they go on a trip, and Aunt Sarah comes to visit, and her cats, which there is a racist placard for this movie, and I think primarily for these cats, because they're Siamese cats, and they sing a song about being Siamese, and I would say it's inappropriate, but...
That was one of the things that, as having only seen it once as a child... when they put that placard up, I had like a Peter Pan flashback where I was like, oh, fuck, what is bad about this one?
Right?
Like, oh, man.
Yeah. I was really hoping it wouldn't have it. And it popped up there, and I was like, oh, damn it, what's in this movie?
Yeah, see, like, I figured that was the moment with the Siamese cats, but I wasn't really paying attention during that scene, if I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I almost got through this movie with thinking there was none. But then when I thought back on it, I was like, oh, right, there was that Siamese cat scene that I kind of walked away from for a few seconds.
It's really unfortunate, too, because that number is pretty catchy. Especially the beat is really good. And I think if they just didn't have the lyrics, well, the cats are still drawn in a stereotypical way, though. Like, I mean, they definitely look like that breed of cat, but they are added to look like stereotypical Asian people.
Right.
So that it is also unfortunate. It's a very small part of the movie, though, so I'm not entirely bothered by it. Like, you could literally fast forward through that number and it'd be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially because the cats don't really do much for the story. So it's like they destroy the house. Nothing. They destroy the house, but that basically just gets blamed on Lady, even though there's no way she could claw curtains from the ceiling down.
Right.
But that's basically all they do is they're just an obstacle for Lady to overcome. It's not important. They don't add to the story.
They don't add anything. So yeah. Anyhow, Sarah decides to get a muzzle for Lady.
Right.
And then Lady gets loose.
And the reason she got the muzzle, I don't think he explained, was that the mom already had the kid, and that's why they went on vacation, and that's why Aunt Sarah's there, is because she's babysitting the child.
Right.
And Lady is just, when she sees Lady, because Lady's friendly with the child because the parents don't mind Lady being there. They love Lady.
I say in air quotes, she helps take care of the baby. Exactly. Like Jim and Darling do a really good job of making sure that Lady doesn't feel excluded from the family. So it's exactly the opposite of the Tramp early on, like right when it happens. Yeah. And during the pregnancy, she does feel a little excluded. But when the baby finally comes, they do, they bring her in the room and they introduce them, and they do a good job of making sure she's a part of the baby's life. And it's really cute. It's not what the Tramp said would happen. Then Aunt Sarah comes in and kicks her out because she thinks she gets too close to the baby.
Yeah, and then when she barks at seeing something outside or seeing a rat or whatever, right? The Aunt Sarah's like, "You're waking up the baby. You're disturbing the baby. The baby was taking a nap." So then she's like, "I gotta get a muzzle. I gotta put this on this dog." And Lady runs off at the visit with the pet store because she's so startled by the experience of having this thing just forced on her face.
Right.
She just bursts out the door and runs away. And that's when she meets the Tramp again, who's like, "See, I was right." And Lady, who's dogs don't know better, she's just like, "You were right. I got chased out of my own home by that."
Right. Yeah.
And then begins a beautiful series of romantic adventures.
Yes, which that's honestly kind of the weird part of this movie because they are dogs, but it is very cute at the same time. So I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but it is great. And I do want to talk about her running away for a minute though, because Garlic is a darter, man. She will just go. So she's gotten out maybe 4 times since I've had her or something like that. Well, make that 5 because she actually got out when we were visiting Fort Wayne just the other day.
Oh, man.
But that one was the quickest that happened, though, because there was somebody she was curious with, another dog across the street, so I was able to actually catch up with her. That was not my fault. Somebody did not tell her to stay when they opened up the door, but it does not matter. Most of the time, it has been my fault. Primarily because I had forgotten to close the garage door and was going out in the garage. But there's been a couple of times where we've been in the yard and out of nowhere, her leash is undone. And the most previous time that happened, I was like, "You better not move." And that's when she knew that she was loose and she just went. And I was so mad at her because I told her to stay. She does not listen outside. She thinks, "Oh, this is the greatest opportunity to have a great play adventure." And when we're chasing her down, she thinks that's the best game in the world. She loves keep away. And yeah, this most previous time I was like, you know what? If we chase her, we're just going to chase her all day and get dehydrated. I'm worried about her, but I think it's probably a better idea if we just stay in the yard. And I hope she comes back. And she did. She came to the neighbor's yard, and the neighbor was like, who we told she was loose, was like, "Oh, do you want to come in here? I'll get you a treat." She listened to him.
Had treats.
He had a treat.
Say, don't move and you'll get it.
Well, okay, I did try to entice her with treats every time I happened to see her, and she just kept on. That's when she's like, oh, the game's still on.
Yeah, thankfully Zelda's outgrown her running away phase.
Good.
She used to be a darter. Like, she would see something. Like, she still is. Like, she sees a squirrel or something, she wants
sure,
it.
yeah.
But she's lost the desire to wriggle out of her harness and, like, escape. She's just like, yes, whatever. And then, like, there's been a few times where the leash is broken or, like, she slipped out of the harness. And she just kind of, like, discovered it and then, like, laid down and looked at me like, are you going to put that back on? Or what's going to happen? Like, so she's at least gotten much better about it.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I hope that happens with Garlic. Like,
yeah, I thankfully haven't had to chase Zelda for about 4 years now, so
that's nice.
Wood, so.
Yeah, I'll do it for you too. Anyhow, yeah, back to the story.
The romantic adventure begins at the zoo, where they're trying to get the muzzle off of Lady. And
that's
the tramp's first thought is an alligator. Of course,
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
sharp teeth. Oh my god! And I love the alligator. Just like, well, yeah, sure, I'll give it a try. Go ahead.
Yeah, why not?
Dude, like, this is the easiest I've ever had a meal. This is fucking hilarious. And then they go to a beaver
right
next,
in.
Which is even.
That was good. Yeah,
it's very stereotypical beaver voice for, like, animation or, like, for Disney specifically.
Yeah, I think it really starts here, though. I mean, that...
Yeah.
I can't remember it happening in a movie before. Maybe Bambi. Maybe there was a gopher or something in Bambi.
Oh, God, it was so funny. I love that little beaver. It's like,
yeah, it's so good. Oh, my gosh. And then
Tramp shows his cunning and wit, and he's just like, well, look here, sailor, I got a nice little tool for you. He really knows how to turn a situation around, the Tramp does.
Yes, he does. What you need is a log puller. Oh, man. Tramp, voiced by Larry Roberts, and he does quite a few voices for Tramp. Like, he's very adaptive for what the situation is, including Tramp's many families. So there's definitely were a couple of dogs like this in my neighborhood that were called different things by different people in the neighborhood. And there was one person who their kids were like, no, that is my dog. That dog has no other name than Goldie. And I was like, okay, but I'm telling you, my next door neighbor calls it Jake. Sorry. So he's got all sorts of different names depending on the family that he's staying with that night of the week. And he stays with them because of the meals that they make. And he eats their table scraps, and it's good stuff.
Especially one great and beautiful character named Tony, who is an Italian restaurant owner or chef.
Yes. And they're definitely stereotypes, but I think it's done in a way that is adorable. So I don't know if I feel bad about it.
I literally have, like, written down, be like Tony. Like,
be like Tony.
He is so wonderful of a human being, because it's just like this dog comes up to him with a lady alongside him, and he's just like, oh, this dog's treating another one of his female friends to a night on the town.
Yeah.
I'll cook them a great meal. So he sets these two dogs up in a beautiful little table with candlelight, and he just feeds them a spaghetti dinner. Oh, you're just such a beautiful person. Like, I really kind of like, I want to just be at a zen place in my life where, I could just be sitting reading a book, and then a couple of animals come up to me and it's like, you guys want a dinner? All right, I'll set this up for you. And,
candlelight.
I'll set them up a nice little platter. I don't know if I go that far.
Me and my buddy will serenade you with music. I mean, I remember watching the scene as a kid and being like, and suddenly being able to shift from the story and be like, wait, these are two grown men singing to dogs. That's kind of weird.
You say it's weird, I say it's beautiful.
But yes, but as an adult, I was my reaction is these two grown-ass men are best friends, and they're like, hey, let's play music to these dogs eating spaghetti.
I don't know if Tony's employee is really wanting to be there, because there's moments where he's just grumbling about it. He's like, oh, come on, we're gonna feed these two
but when he
dogs.
started playing the guitar, he was really getting into it. He had a big old smile on his face.
That's true. I would love. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If I'm walking down the street and like I see a restaurant that outdoor in their patio, they're serenading two dogs to a spaghetti dinner, I'm going to stop and eat at that restaurant, because that is a beautiful experience. I think that's beautiful. I love that shit. And that's just the fun. Those are the kind of fun adventures that lady has with the tramp. But she wants to get back to her family. She's got to get back, and so she goes back. I don't remember how she, why she leaves the tramp. I think there's, some kind of weird scene. She gets caught by the...
Yeah, she gets
caught by the dog.
He decides he wants to chase chickens with her, and she's like, this does not seem like something we should do. And he's like, no, it's the best. And it's all a metaphor for peer pressure and drug use in America. But...
I agree with the message. I think that is important, that peer pressure can be a bad thing. However, he does have this one line where he's like, come on, let's just make some memories. And that is my overall, goal in life. It's just like, you know what? I don't care what happens. I just want to make some memories, damn it.
Yeah, but the truth is, he does pressure her into doing this.
Yeah, he does.
And then she gets caught. She's not used to having to outrun someone. And she's a pampered Cocker Spaniel, for God's sake. Oh, Lady, by the way, is voiced by Barbara Luddy. And I believe she is a voice that Disney uses quite often after this.
Yeah, specifically, she's Kanga in the original Winnie the Pooh stuff.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, Mama Kanga.
Yeah, she does a great job. I love Lady.
She's great.
I can't say that I identified with the character when I was watching it as a child, but watching it now, it's like, yeah, I love my garlic. You remind me of her.
Yeah.
But, I feel like because they're voiced by humans, when you're a kid, you don't quite grasp that all the things they are doing are dog things. But
right.
As a dog owner, you catch it all.
I think it's also the same with the story, because there's certain aspects of the story that are very okay, come on, but that's what the dog would pick up on. One moment specifically is when Lady is laying in front of the fire, and both of her parents are standing over her or sitting in the chairs beside the fire next to her. They're just like, man, Lady is the best thing in our lives, and she's like, I can't imagine anything being closer to my heart. It's very cute, but at the same time, it's very heavy-handed, and it's just all right, now we get what you're trying to imply.
We get on the way. We get what's going on.
Yeah, it's those little silly things that, as an adult watching this, I'm like, okay, yep, that's for the kids, because to push how important she is. But then there's also the underlying thing where it's she is a dog. That is the conversation she would focus on. She would focus on the warmest tones. Yeah. To represent how she is to them. She wouldn't focus on all the boring stuff. And neither should we also, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, time's different for them. So who knows? Yeah. Yeah, so she gets caught. I think that's where we left off with the synopsis. She gets caught.
It's hilarious because she gets caught, she has a collar, this is one of those areas where it's man, the dog nappers really just don't care about what they're doing. Because it's obviously they would catch somebody with a collar on too, but I don't feel like they would put them in the same freaking pen as all the other unclaimed dogs.
I don't know.
This one is clearly somebody's pet.
Yeah, if they were full, I suppose they would. It's this is. I think it's based in the late 1800s, so. They could have been just run completely differently back then. I mean, hell, most pounds and shelters were still, kill shelters until recently, I feel like. So,
like, it shows that they are very vile people still in this. Like, they're a villainous kind of character for this movie because they clearly don't care what they're doing about this. Because, in modern day times, if it has a collar and you know that there's an owner that's going to come try to claim it, and you put it in a pen with other dogs and it gets attacked, you might be liable for lawsuit.
That's true. Yeah, that's damn true.
Whereas back then, it's just like, nope, got this dog with a collar on, we'll try to find the owner, but while we're trying to find the owner, we're just going to toss it in with all these other dogs and just hope it's okay. Which, thankfully, most dogs in this world are friendly and all just singing sad, soulful blues songs. But
yeah, that song, dude. I mean, at first, the animation at the pound, it reminded me of the Sarah McLachlan commercials for animal shelters. And maybe I guess they probably got it from this. But that song, dude, I thought it was great. That's Just All Howls. I think I'm going to get that on my Spotify so I could listen to it.
Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad.
It is sad, but it's great at the same time. Like, I started that with the animation with it. Like, I started laughing. Like, at first I was feeling really bad, and then it just kept on going, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh man, it's good. It is good. And just to finish the synopsis, we won't spoil the ending overall, but there is a nice happy ending.
Yes,
Lady and the Tramp have to overcome a giant hurdle, and which just to talk about that just a little bit, there's a climactic finale scene. I'll say it involves a rat and Tramp fighting this rat. And the rat is about the size of a small cat, I would say.
Yeah. Unless we're greatly overestimating the size of the dogs, this is a big rat.
Yeah, I mean, and that is possible. That is very possible because, Tramp could be a very small dog, I guess. In which case...
Yeah, I would say that Lady is a small dog, but I always imagined really they would be the size of Garlic and Zelda, both of them.
Right. Yeah. That's what I imagined too, which would make this rat
a huge rat.
Cat.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous, man. And so, but the event with the rat ends in such a way that Aunt Sarah believes the Tramp is completely at fault. But Lady is able to get her human owners who arrive at just in the right time to somehow understand that it's the rat's fault by showing them the body of the rat. And I'm like, I don't know. It's an ending that left a little to be desired, because I get to the end and I'm like, I don't know if I would understand the situation just by seeing the body of a dead rat. I don't know if I would look at it and be like, oh, this is what must have happened, and therefore that Tramp is a hero. I don't think I would come to that conclusion. I would think, ooh,
yeah,
this is a gross dead body. I'm going to get rid of this and put this in the trash.
Yeah, though I would be like, I still would be like, hey, listen, Lady is a good dog, Aunt Sarah.
Right.
If you want to come and babysit the baby again, you're going to have to know that. And know that she's not going to hurt the baby. Jesus. I mean, there was no cell phone or anything like that for her to try to get in contact with them real quick and say, hey, your dog is acting like this. Is that okay? I don't know that I necessarily blame her. She just did not understand dogs. Like you said, if you're going to have somebody come over to watch your kid and you have a dog, make sure they know how to do dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a kid and a pet, make sure that there's a sitter for both. But I think that's it for the episode. Obviously closing statements, but
right. Yeah,
if you were ready.
I don't know what else to talk about. I do like Trusty and Jacques a lot. Jacques is a Scottish Terrier. I can't ever remember the full breed name. And Trusty is some kind of hound. And according to Jacques, Trusty's lost his sense of smell. and he used to be a police dog to hunt down criminals. And he used to do it with his grandpa, Old Reliable. And he'd always like to talk about Old Reliable. Have I ever brought up Old Reliable? Yes, you have. Oh, all right.
Oh, it's beautiful. That is a fun part of the tale, and especially the fact that they just come up to the house. They just they're just in the neighborhood. They're just I like that they're just free.
It would be nice if that could be how it was still, but it's not.
Right. Yeah, if I could trust Zelda to just like wander to the neighbor's house and say hi, that would be wonderful. But I can't without thinking also that she's just going to see a squirrel along the way and then run off to Chicago.
Right. Off to Chicago. That dog can mush. That could happen. But really, I think the main problem is automobiles. Like, in this time period that this is set, there's a carriage every once in a while. And unless they're in a big, huge hurry, they're usually only going like 15 miles an hour, if that.
Right.
So it was a lot less dangerous to just let your dogs go loose.
Yeah. Yeah. Now the automobiles, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love Jock and Trusty, and there's was it Trusty, right? Trusty?
Yeah, it was Trusty. I kept on thinking it was Krusty. But then I turned on the subtitles because the movie was kind of quiet and I was running the dishwasher.
Right.
Anyhow, and I was like, oh, I thought it was Krusty or Rusty, but it's Trusty. And I thought that makes sense with Old Reliable.
Right. In my memory, all I could think was Jock and Lucky, and I was like, I don't think it's Lucky. But no. Trusty. There is a sad moment near the end where they try to make you think. I'm just going to put this out there because I hate animal. Yeah, I hate animal deaths in movies, and they try to make you think that Trusty dies, and there's like a long howl from Jock. It made me so sad, and I was like about to cry. And then the next scene starts up, and here comes Trusty like limping on one leg, and I'm just like, fuck Disney for making me think for even a second making me think that it's not worth the emotional pull if you're going to bring it back within like 2 minutes.
Well, I guess we're not going to watch Old Yeller then.
Why would you make me feel like super sad about? We can watch Old Yeller and I'll bitch about it for about 2 hours. But because I mean, like the thing is, if I watched this in theaters, if I had to put my dog up for the night, if I left her alone in the apartment for the night to just run around while I go see a movie, and in that movie, you make me think about the dog either running away or dying or being killed in some way. Fuck you, because now I want to leave your movie so I can go check on my dog.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you're making me spend the rest of the frickin' movie worrying about my dog and not caring at all about the picture you're trying to make me watch.
Yeah. I think, though, people... not Jim, Deere, and Darling, but I think most people... especially in that period, were probably less close to their dogs as we are and people of our generation tend to be. Because there are children. We don't have babies.
Yeah.
We have fur baby.
I'm emotionally dependent upon this fur baby.
I do love my dog. She's freaking great. Right. I got to introduce her to my dad and the in-laws this weekend, and that was nice. Get your vaccination. So you can see your people.
Agreed. Yeah, mine got to stay at my parents' house this last week, so she really enjoyed it, but she was getting homesick at the end. So it was real cute, but yeah. But I think that's it. Let's get into the closing statements. I like Lady and the Tramp. This is one of those weird offshoots of Disney where it's still an adaptation of a story. But here it's an adaptation of a magazine story in the Cosmopolitan called Happy Dan, the Cynical Dog by Ward Green. So it's like it's weird that it's not some weird folktale or old style.
That's true.
Story.
Also, I think it's a mix of that and also this gentleman who had a dog named Lady and thought the idea of a story where the baby comes along and she gets pushed aside and runs away would make a good Disney movie, and he pitched it to Disney. And I think that's where their interest in this story happened, and it was supposed to be a movie called Lady, but I didn't read the whole thing on this. Bad research for this show, but I knew I had a lot to talk about just because of dogs.
Right.
Yeah. But anyhow, it sounds like maybe they then found this story later, because Disney was not happy with what this guy was coming up with necessarily. He didn't think there was enough conflict in the story, so maybe they read this story and then they mixed them together.
Yeah, I don't know anything. All I saw was that it was adapted from a Cosmopolitan story. But whereas the critics back then, they always hated everything. This was apparently the first animation using CinemaScope widescreen, and so they hated it primarily for that, I guess, because they didn't like how the animation looked. I thought it looked fine. I thought it looked pretty good. There are some moments where there's a close up of Tramp and he's running, and they didn't get the background animation right, so it kind of looks like he's flying. And there's small moments like that that bothered me, but not enough to hate this story or not recommend this story. Yeah, I really enjoyed the voice acting. I think the story is nice and enjoyable. I give it 2.5 stars. It's good for kids. It's good for the family.
Yeah,
I wouldn't come back to it a lot. I understand why child me didn't want to watch this more than once. So, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I came at it with a pretty new, strong appreciation as a dog owner than I ever had before. I mean, like I said, I've had dogs my whole life, and it never hit me like this when I watched this movie. So I don't know that I would return to it over and over again, but it's definitely higher up on my favorite Disney, the order of Disney list as in relation to occupation in my heart. So I do enjoy this, and out of this era, I have it's definitely up there. It's definitely a contender so far. So I mean, I guess we haven't done that much in this era yet. So honestly, maybe I'd say it's my favorite so far.
Yeah, and it's not as racist as Peter Pan, so it's not as
that's true
hard to watch.
Oh my God!
And where, as you said, where it's racist is easily forgettable and also easily skipped past. They could just cut it from this, I think.
Sure, yeah, they sure could. It's just unfortunate because, if it was a completely different song and they were just animated slightly different, I would dig the song because the beat's pretty great. That's unfortunate, but full face movie.
Yeah, when that song came on, I think I went to go make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something because I was in the kitchen doing something, and I heard the beat and I was like, "That sounds like a good song I'm missing." But I was like, "Oh well."
Oh well. I do think
going back and rewinding.
I do think that perhaps when Tramp's going around and imitating the different families that he's a part of, that might be considered problematic nowadays too. But I don't think he was doing anything overly stereotypical. He was just doing accent work. So I don't know if anybody would wink an eye at that or not, but
that's fair. That's fair.
I think it is fair to give a fair warning for the cat scene, but it is all around a very fun, heartfelt movie about dogs, and I love dogs, so full face movie.
Hear, hear. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I am the Green Traveler.
I am the Faceless Leon, not from Gorsh. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the FictionWorks 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.